Hello everyone, this is Robotics Rules, and welcome to this video on the STARTERBOT, the robotics system designed for novice and rookie teams to have a worthwhile and enjoyable experience in first LEGO League Challenge competition. My name is Dan, I'm an educator and a robotics coach. I have 15 years working with LEGO Robotics and 8 years experience as a first LEGO League Challenge coach. I've been to many competitions over the years, and I've seen that the vast majority of teams are either novice or rookie teams, and they primarily use as their robot the designs provided in the Spike program, either the smaller, simpler robot or the larger, more advanced robot. These two robots can help children solve missions on the board. However, both have several fundamental weaknesses, which makes the experience of using them a frustrating and difficult one. This has led me to design a new robot, the STARTERBOT, that overcomes these weaknesses, reducing frustration and helping children master the engineering skills they need to solve missions on the board. In this video, I'm going to show you the 8 reasons why the STARTERBOT system is the right one for your team. After watching it, you're going to want to go straight to the roboticsrules.net website, download instructions, and get ready for a better First LEGO League Challenge experience. Reason 1, it's simple to build. Of the 2 FLLC robot designs provided by LEGO, only one can be built using a single Spike Prime set, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The larger robot requires purchase of the Spike Prime expansion set, 4, 5, 6, 8, 1. The STARTERBOT and up to 3 attachments can be built using only one Spike Prime set. The instructions have less than 50 steps, and there are no complex assembly requirements. Each attachment module is light and compact, and all can be quickly and easily built. Reason 2, the attachments are awesome. With the STARTERBOT system, children can build attachments that permit motorized movement in all directions. This will enable them to more easily solve missions on the FLL board. There are attachments that provide circular movement in either a vertical or horizontal direction. Vertical circular motion can also be rotated by 90 degrees for maximum reach. There are attachments that also provide lateral movement in either a vertical or horizontal direction using the rack and pinion mechanism. Finally, there are simple attachments that can be modified to passively solve missions. All attachments form secure connections with the robot using 4-axle pins. This allows operators to quickly and easily secure and remove the attachments. Compare this to the robots provided by LEGO, which come with 1 or 2 attachments, all of which only provide vertical circular motion. They also use pins to secure attachments. The STARTERBOT system will allow kids to do so much more with a lot less hassle. Reason 3, no gear slipping. One of the fundamental flaws of the LEGO designed FLLC robots occurs at the point where they connect to their attachments. For the attachment mechanism to work, the gear of the attachment must connect to the gear of the robot's attachment motor. You'll see the gear teeth are very small, and so if the connection point between the 2 gears is shifted even 1 or 2 millimeters, then it can be broken. You get gear slippage or gear grinding, and the attachment no longer functions the way you want it to. This major problem affects both of the LEGO designed FLL robots. The smaller, simpler one has a weak connection secured by 2 pins. If any significant force pushes on the attachment arm, the gear connection is broken and gear slippage occurs. The larger robot is better, but gear slippage can also happen for 2 reasons. Firstly, the connection of the attachment only takes place on one side. So if the attachment is pulled down like this, it will break the connection between the gears. Secondly, the force exerted on the 90-degree angle change gear can cause these T-pieces to shift outwards. This only needs to happen by 1 millimeter for the gear connection to break. I've seen many teams have to push this part together before runs to ensure there are no issues. The STARTERBOT attachment gears form secure connections with the attachment motor of the main robot. You can see the axle of the attachment gear and the axle that holds the gear from the attachment motor are held in place at the top and the bottom. Once the attachment is secured to the robot in 4 places, the gears cannot shift in any direction. Gear slippage cannot happen at all. Reason 4, unlike this guy, STARTERBOT is small. Navigating around the FLL board is a challenge. There are missions and small objects everywhere, and your robot needs to be as small as possible to avoid collisions. The larger of the 2 LEGO-designed FLL robots is 23 studs wide and 24 studs in length. If you look inside it, there's a significant empty space between the 2 driving motors. I wonder why they did this. Using this robot to solve missions increases the risk that it will indirectly impact missions. The STARTERBOT is only 18 studs wide and 19 studs in length. This is the same width as the simpler LEGO-designed robot and only 2 studs longer. Its small size makes it less likely to impact mission elements as it travels around the board. Reason 5, unlike this guy, STARTERBOT is stable. When your robot solves missions around the board, it'll be lifting, lowering, grabbing, pushing, pulling. You want the robot to be stable while all of this is happening, so that your attachments do not shift as they do their job. The 2 LEGO-designed FLL robots are unstable. The center of gravity of the simpler robot is almost directly at the center point of the wheels. Any weight or force impacting the attachment point of the robot causes it to tilt forwards. The circle of the motor will rub against the ground as it turns, causing the robot to move. The more complex robot has no stability issues when the front attachment piece is used, but again, the center of gravity is very close to the center point of the wheels, and so the robot will tilt if the rear attachment has too much weight or is acted upon by even a gentle force. The STARTERBOT is designed with stability in mind. Its center of gravity is 3 studs from the center point of the wheel. Most weight is close to the ground. The front uses these white angle pieces that do not touch the ground but provide support for the robot if it starts to tilt in that direction. Applying weight to any part of the robot causes little to no movement. Reason number 6. When you run STARTERBOT, it grips the board. The STARTERBOT drives extremely well around the board. Its center of gravity is close to the wheels, and so weight pushes down on them as they turn. This prevents the wheels from slipping. You can see here how there is no slipping when the STARTERBOT turns at high speed or travels straight at high speed. It can even push heavy objects. An added benefit to STARTERBOT is the fact that the attachment point is directly over the driving wheels. Additional weight added to the robot is placed directly over the wheels, which further increases grip strength. Reason number 7, STARTERBOT can be lined up against the wall of the FLL board. Coding your robot to solve a mission is one challenge. Getting it to complete the mission every single time is even more difficult. One way to make this happen is to line up the robot along the wall of the board. This helps in 2 ways. It keeps the robot facing the same direction every time. You can also line up the robot along one of the lines along the edge of the home base to ensure it always has the same distance from the mission it's trying to solve. I have seen many novice teams struggle to line up the simpler of the 2 LEGO-designed robots. It has an awkward bump at the rear, where the caster wheel has been placed. Many teams will add pieces to the rear to help stabilize a robot along the wall of the board. The more advanced robot is better, but the rear wall is 4 studs high, and so it's not always easy to line up the robot with a specific starting line. The STARTERBOT lines up easily with the wall in 2 ways, front-facing or rear-facing. Exterior pieces are only 1 stud above the ground, allowing the operator to rapidly line up the robot with any line in the home base. Finally, reason number 8, the STARTERBOT system uses a color sensor to identify attachments. One of the challenges of any FLLC team is code management. During a competitive run, the robot will be launched from the home base anywhere from 3 to 8 times. A separate program must be written for each launch to solve specific missions. Usually, each program is stored in one of the numbered slots available in the Spike computer brick. This can be frustrating for many reasons. Operators sometimes forget which program is for which launch. They accidentally use the wrong program for a specific launch and chaos ensues. Managing the locations and versions of multiple programs is also a headache for every team. The STARTERBOT has a color sensor that reads the color of a wire clip piece at the edge of the attachment. Simple code can be written to allow the robot to identify the attachment and then run the specific program for that attachment. This allows the team to have all launch code on one program. It speeds up the attachment transitions and it eases code management. I have a video where you can see how to write the code to use STARTERBOT's color sensor in the video description below. I hope this video has shown you how the STARTERBOT system will help your team have an enjoyable and worthwhile experience in First LEGO League competition. For the next month, I'm making instructions and videos for this system free on my website, roboticsrules.net. I encourage you to go there, download, and get building and coding. If you have any feedback, please feel free to leave a comment below or to contact me through my website. Remember to like and subscribe. Thank you very much.